Welcome, everyone. We are live, and it's Tuesday. Mm, a little bit warmer out today, if we want to call it that. It is warmer. Ah, um, let us begin. You see that topic. Somebody asked me, Angela, what is self-sabotage? I keep hearing about it, and I think I'm doing it to myself. And the reason why I say self-sabotage is fake. It's one of those words and terms that's been made up because people don't understand the principles. Nobody deliberately gets up and puts a stick in their spokes so they can go flying over the handlebars. Nobody does that deliberately. We do not, quote unquote, sabotage ourselves. We do, however, live by way of our neurological pathways. That's what we do. This is why self-sabotage is fake. It's just a term that's been made up. When you begin to see that those memories we have, memories are there. They're in our brains. It's stored information. Stored information is used. So if you have a particular thing, when this person was talking about self-sabotage, they were saying, well, yeah, every time I start something, I never finish. I've been doing it for years. I don't even know why I do it. I just never finish anything I start. Hello? Listen. This is why it is very important to be observant. I never finish anything I start, and I always screw everything up. That is an affirmation. Hello? They are telling you what they have done, what they are doing, and what they will continue to do. Is what they're saying every single time. And so, like I told you, it is so subtle. Man, nothing I had to produce seems to work. That is an affirmation. And so long as that affirmation persists in your mental pathways, you will do exactly what it says, even though you don't want to. Because that, you've heard the phrase force of habit. A habit once set down will compel you to behave in a particular way. So if you say you self-sabotage, you have to find it. And you find it by listening to yourself. I told you how to do it. Man, why does this keep happening to me? Why do I keep doing this all the time? That's it right there. Ding, 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 ding. That's it right there. And when I say find it, I don't mean find the problem and try and fix it. That's not what I'm saying to you. I'm saying find it because you are listening to yourself. Yeah, but every time I try something, it never seems to work. Everybody else is better off than me. Those are not idle words. Those are affirmations. Those are things you believe because you've seen it happen many times. You've seen it happen many times. Why have you seen it many times? Because it starts somewhere. So when something happens, you go, oh, you see, I knew it. You had confirmation. But all you had confirmation of is what you were holding onto. You only had confirmation of what you were seeing. That's all it was. Because it's confirmation doesn't mean that you have to run with it. So, no, you're not sabotaging yourself. You're just replaying a pattern. When you see the pattern, then you fix it. Well, how do you fix it? By forming a new pattern. Wait. So, you're trying to tell me that all I gotta do is form a new pattern? Yes. Yes. It's like the farmer. The farmer, he wants to plant a new crop. He's planted wheat for 5 years. He's going to give the soil a break and plant something else. Well, what's he going to plant? Whatever he chooses to plant. Because he doesn't want to plant wheat anymore. So if he doesn't want to plant wheat anymore, he has to decide what to plant. And then plant it. It is as simple as that. But Angela, you see how I was raised. I'm Catholic, or I'm Protestant, or I'm Christian, and that's not what I was told. I was told if I had a problem, I had to take it to Jesus. Okay, here's how you take it to Jesus. Jesus, I keep sabotaging myself, and I don't know what to do, Lord. What do you suggest I do, Jesus? And you know what Jesus is going to tell you? Well, how can I be so sure of what Jesus is going to tell you? If you want something different, you have to do something different. He can't tell you anything else. How do I know for sure? Well, he was walking by a fig tree that did not bear fruit. And what did he say to that fig tree? Ah, wither and die, you're not doing your job. That story tells you that what is not working for you, do something else. That story is as plain as day, but we look at it and say, oh, he cursed it. No, he didn't curse it. He told it, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Thus, you don't serve a purpose anymore. So be gone. So that what? That which serves the purpose can show itself. That's what he's saying. So no, I'm not putting words in Jesus's mouth. I can't do such a thing. I'm just telling you the words that are already there. I can't quote the Quran or the Torah because that's not how I was raised. So I can't tell you anything from there. But Angela, how can you possibly use scripture to validate the laws? Because the laws predate everything. The principles predate everything. The principle of correspondence tells us. Now, if you were here yesterday, I met a man on Instagram yesterday who said that the Hermetic principles are demonic. And of course, I asked a very simple question. So if I plant corn and I reap corn, that's demonic? What do you think correspondence means? As within, so without. Whatever is inside that seed is the only thing that can show itself. And he said to me, yeah, well, that's all magic. When people say as above, so below. Hello? As above, so below. This is part of where people think they're sabotaging themselves. When you look at your life and you see what you are doing, you see it so much that you say, why do I keep doing this? That is your cue. Man, this always happens to me. I always choose the same cut. That is your red flag. It's waving and it says, hey, hey, pick me, pick me. I'm the problem, is what it's saying, because it is. What that simple phrase that you are saying, that affirmation that you're saying, what is an affirmation? A statement that affirms what you believe. That's all an affirmation is. But we go out and we buy books and books and books with affirmations written in them without realizing that you can say whatever you want. But as long as you don't believe that thing, it is irrelevant. So when you affirm to yourself, whatever that thing is, that's how you're going to live. You cannot live any other way. And so to change it, you employ something else. What is it that you want to become? Who do you want to become? Well, we could go back to scripture if you'd like. Can't handle scripture? It's okay. It's not about that. It's about the story. Because this is why the principle of as above, so below works. You can take anything from around you in nature and learn from it, which is below, right? So what's above? You are above. Your consciousness, your awareness of observing the thing. If you're looking out there right now, where especially where I am, and you're like, oh my God, it's so cold. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You can be like the bunny. Oh, yes. Well, how? The nature of the bunny. If he's brown in this weather, well, he's going to have a problem. He'll be lunch really quick. So, what does the bunny do? All the bunny's fur goes white. He blends into his surroundings to preserve his life. That is a simple observation. How do you apply that to your life? You change to match the situation you're in. You don't fight the situation, modify the behavior to fit the situation. But Angela, what if it's a bad thing? Is winter bad or is it good? Well, that depends on who you ask on most days. So good or bad would be who's looking. But the bunny is telling you, I gotta blend in. Can't stick out. Blend in where? Whatever that situation is that's going on in your life, he's telling you not to fight it. You don't fight the situation. You modify you. He can't change winter. All he can do is change his fur. So you can't change the situation, but you change your perspective of the situation. This is what the principle of as above, so below means and how to apply it to your life. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking, but man, I always seem to mess it up. Remember what that statement means? That statement only means you've been saying that thing for so long, seeing it for so long. It is a neurological pathway in your brain. And so you keep following it. I gave you the analogy of the field. You know, when you go to the park and you see a footpath, there's no grass in it anymore. It's just dirt now. But on the left side is grass, the right side is grass, but down the middle is just dirt. Why is that there? Because people have walked on it for a long time, enough to set that groove down. So that when you go to that park, where do you walk? On the grass on the left, the grass on the right? No. You walk right down the middle. Why do you take that path? Because it is there. It's been set down. So, no, you're not sabotaging yourself. You're just following a path in your brain that you have done and set down a path for, and it is the only path you're going to take. But here's the great news. You see that footpath? It wasn't always there. Which means that someone decided, I need to get across the field. I'm going to set a pathway. I'm going to cut across right here. And every time They wanted to get across that field because it was their way home. They cut across that field in the same place they left the indentation the day before. And every day, week after week after week after week after month, they would walk right there. That, if you use the principle of as above, so below, remember, below is the field. Above, you looking at the field, you are aware of that field. Your behavior, that thing that you do the same way every time, started very small. So when you walk that pathway all the time, it becomes sure. It becomes solid. It becomes the path of least resistance. And you will take it every time. And you can fight it all you want and say, I don't want to do that. I hate doing that. But you're going to keep doing it. But what is the great news? The great news is you can start a new pathway. And I keep telling you, at first, the pathway isn't there and it feels scary to you. It feels like you're treading in territory unknown. And the brain is funny. It's hilarious. It likes comfort. It likes to do the same thing the same way every time because that's its nature. That is its nature. It was designed to do that. And so it just likes it. And so at first it's scared and it says, but I've never done this before. I don't know what to do. So you, with your awareness and watching yourself be afraid, you say, I got you, brain, I got you. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this thing every day. What? Just trust me. You're going to get the hang of it and you're going to forget that you even learned it because you're going to be a pro at it. Just watch. And every day you get up and you do it. 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 Karate Kid, wax on, wax off. You just do it. And at first it seems mundane. At first it seems like, man, what's the point of doing this thing now? It's foolishness. It's never going to change. I tossed in a towel. I done. I finished. The dog dead. I done. I can't do this no more. What do you think happens? You go right back to what you always used to do. Thereby, first thing that comes out of your mouth is, oh my God, this self-sabotage is real. I keep messing things up. No, you're not messing anything up. You are not messing anything up. You are simply walking the path you've always walked. Just a closer walk with thee. Granted, Jesus is my plea. What's that song say? Daily walking close to thee. Just let it be. Dear Lord, let it be. That's the song. Man, that hymn is so old. Phew. But it says what? Daily. But we want to get up, snap our fingers, and have it be done. We don't want to persist. But the reason why we don't persist is only because we are a little bit afraid because of the way the brain has been designed. It doesn't, you know when people say, nobody likes change. Do you know why no one likes change? Because they don't initiate it. That's why. Well, what do you mean, Angela? If you do not initiate the change, it means you have not told yourself what you want to become, what you want to change into. And if you don't tell yourself what you want to change into, that's where the fear of the unknown comes in. And this is why the sabotage would seem to be real, because you're not telling yourself what you want to do. Somebody's saying, you got to change. It's coming from the outside. You got to change. You got to be better than this. Uh, your brain is like, no, no, I will fight you every step of the way. Which makes it seem like you're sabotaging yourself because you don't want to do anything different. But it's not that you don't want to do anything different. You have not defined what different is. You have to comfort your brain. Comfort your brain? I've never heard this before. How do you comfort your brain? By showing it what you want to become. Show it what you want to become. In other words, as Neville Goddard would say, experience in imagination what you would be doing in reality if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be. And when you show your brain what you want to become, there is a mental attitude that goes along with that image. A way that you will behave, yeah? So you show your brain that picture, that behavior, and you say, you see, this is what we're going to become. And this is what we're going to practice. You are really good at repetition. I am really good at feeling, because body, brain, right? They're having a conversation. And you say to it, here's how we feel about this change. I am so excited that I don't have to remain the same anymore. I'm going to become a new person. And your brain says, oh, well, tell me more. You seem so excited about this. Show me. And you show it. You show yourself that image you want to become. This is why people cut out pictures from magazines. The image. You show the image of what you want to become. And if you have that image, the mental attitude or mood will show itself to match. And so now you get up every day and you say to your brain, here's the behavior we're going to do. We're going to rehearse. We're going to get these 1, 2, cha, cha, cha. We're going to get this step in. Yeah, we're going to do it. 1, 2, cha, cha, cha. We're going to repeat this over and over. And we're just going to take 2 minutes every day, till we get used to it. So you can move yourself from never finishing anything and feeling like a failure because everybody else finishes and you don't, right? What does it feel like? What would you feel like if you finished this task? Well, you will feel amazing, wouldn't you? Now, show your brain that image. What would you be doing if you did finish? Would you do a dance? Would you jump up and down and holler, I did it? What would you naturally do? And you begin to show your brain that. You could do an SAT, a state akin to sleep. You can lean back and close your eyes and set the mood, the ambiance, so that you can rehearse in the most natural way possible. And you can do it 30 seconds every day. In the morning before you get out of bed, at night before you go to bed, and somewhere at lunch. 3 times a day, do the same exercise, the same thing that you'd be doing. That experience in imagination, what you'd be doing in reality, that one little thing. And the mental attitude that goes with it. And you're just going to practice that mental attitude. But Angela, shouldn't I be doing more? Shouldn't I be going out there in the world and seeing what I could do? No. You experience in imagination what you would be doing in reality. Why? Because you are setting down a pathway across that field to boldly go where no one has gone before. That's what you're doing. And every time you do that, you can be sure of the behavior that will follow. So you don't have to get up and go out into the world. I mean, you live your life naturally like you normally would do. But you see that thing you're rehearsing? Just keep rehearsing it. Why? Because sooner rather than later, the thing that you have practiced, what will you do? Naturally, you'll perform it, which means you will have the experience in the outside world, and that will make you stop saying, "Oh my God, I sabotage myself all the time." You're not sabotaging yourself. You're just doing what you've always done. And to change what you're doing, to change it, acknowledge where you are and what you're doing, and see where you want to go. You see, the brain works beautifully. It really does. If I said, "Girl, you got to get some cheese," you know exactly what store you're going to go to because it flashes in your brain. And you go to that store. You're not sabotaging yourself with anything. You're just simply following a pathway. And you persisted in walking across that field every day. So much so that you groove is in the heart. Well, the groove is in the grass, right? As above, so below. The groove is in the grass, but the groove is now also in your brain because you've done it. So now you got to set down a new groove. How do you set down a new groove? By rehearsing the new mental attitude until it becomes your new memory. But you have to persist in it. These things that we say, "Man, this is taking too long. Why has it got to be so hard?" It's not hard. It's just that the grass is tall, my friends. The grass is tall. That's all it means. But somebody's got to walk down that tall grass at least once or twice to bend the grass down. So that means you've got to do that mental attitude. Let me explain it a little bit deeper for you. If you were a designer, doesn't matter what you design, but if you were a designer and you walked by and saw something you designed and it was up on a billboard, you didn't know it was there. You just happened to see it. You're like, "Wait, that looks familiar. I did that." How would you feel if you saw your stuff on the billboard? Oh, wow, by golly gee, that's my design. You see your name in lights. How would you feel? How would you walk into a room? How would you answer your phone? "Hi, what's going on, man?" Or would you answer your phone, "Hey, girl, how you doing?" I know, right? Yes. See, the way you would answer the phone, the way you would speak to someone because you felt incredibly good about yourself. You walked into that room and you got that step, sway, sashay down. People looking at you like, "What's gotten into her?" You've seen Lonesome Dove with Diana Carroll. Wait, Dynasty with Diana Carroll. You could walk in there with that attitude. Because some people say, "Well, I don't even know what kind of attitude I would walk with, Angela." You might not have to see it as you, but you can see it vicariously. You could see that attitude in somebody else and say, "You know what? I'd like to walk with that kind of confidence." And you just start practicing that mental attitude. Because to walk with that kind of confidence, you have to have an attitude. That is what you rehearse. because that attitude implies that you have become who you said you wanted to be. It's the attitude. It's a simple thing. You don't, but you see, when you tell people to visualize, they think they got to put this whole short story together. No, you don't. You just need, if you can see the image of Diane Carroll and how she spoke to, was it Elizabeth? Nah, it wasn't Elizabeth Taylor. It was somebody else. But you know what I mean by dynasty. And the way she spoke, and she wore that mink collar, and she sat there and she goes, oh, I prefer the beluga. And I was like, oh, I was like, oh my. Oh, I'd like to have that attitude. Well, then, just the image of her represents the attitude. So every time you see her, you could cut out an image of her and put it up on the mirror because that image reminds you of what attitude you should have. And every time you rehearse that attitude, what are you doing? Groove is in the brain. You're setting down the groove in the brain so that you do what? You're going to walk out there in this world, and that is the attitude you will walk with. That is the behavior you will walk with. And thereby, people will start to treat you in that fashion because she also represents being wealthy, you know. So it's not the money, it's the attitude that you have when you have the money. It's the attitude. That is what you rehearse, the attitude. If you are the star quarterback, you know what a star quarterback represents. That's all the ladies want to be with you, or the fellers, you know. It doesn't matter. They all want to be where he is. He's the cool cat. You know, he's got the swagger. He's got the smile, you know. He got the fade or the Justin Bieber haircut, whichever, whichever. But he's got that certain je ne sais quoi. You don't know what it is, but it's an attitude that he has. So you get your attitude. That is what you rehearse, the attitude. Because the attitude that you rehearse is the behavior that you will exhibit. And when you exhibit that behavior, you will exhibit that behavior because you're having that experience. And we seem to think that, as the man said yesterday, that manifestation is magic. And I'm like, shut your mouth, son. You manifest every single day of your life, whether you know or you don't know. Because to manifest just means to show that which is within on the outside. And sometimes I get a little bit annoyed, but then I have to remember the analogy of the baby. The baby doesn't know any better. I too am a baby. So I've got to be gentle. Hmm? So no, I can't cuss him out. As much as as I was tempted to. But you see, that's the old groove that was in my brain. I cuss you out, I don't care. I tell you off, I don't care. That was the old me. That was the old me. And you know what snapped me out of that? A dream I had. It's one of those silent movie dreams. Yeah, there was no talking in the dream, but my mouth was moving. And every time I spoke, whoever I was speaking to would flinch. And when I had that dream, I said, oh, my word is a whip, is it? Well, that can't be good. Nobody wants to be beaten. Has to be a better way to speak to people, Angela. So I said, I have to practice a new way of being. Sometimes we say to ourselves, I'm not changing for anybody. You're right. You should never change for someone because there's none to change but self from within. So you see, self-sabotage only appears to exist simply because you and I keep doing the same thing the same way every time. Keep walking with the same attitude. You'll get the same experiences. Why is it that every time I go somewhere, nobody likes me? Oh, so if you're meeting many, many people and they all have the same opinion, see how harshly we judge ourselves? You're not a problem. You just have a particular attitude. If you don't... Good morning, handsome. Oh, you get little kisses. I'm coming to help you. I know. It's just an attitude. It is just an attitude that you keep practicing. And we all know that an attitude is very simple to change. Pull a Patti LaBelle. You sing along with that song and you'll change in no time. She said, I tidied up my point of view. So how do you tidy up your point of view? You look at your not so fun attitude and you say, you know what? Hey, that's not working for me anymore. That's like that fig tree. Wither and die. Why do things? Because you're no longer giving it your attention. What are you giving your attention to? The new attitude that you're going to practice. So you see, you're not sabotaging yourself. No, my dear doctor, you're not sabotaging yourself at all. You're just simply repeating a pattern, a habit that you've done. But now you know how to change it. Persistence is required. You can walk that field every day to set down that groove in the brain. Over and over. You can do it. Of course you can. Around you will see of rehearsal and performance. Every day I see my girl, she'll show me a little clip or she'll post clips of her as a young Tina. Do you know how many hours she has to practice? It's kind of like you night or a couple nights before I because for so long at that point. That is what is required. Persistence. But persistence is not something we drag ourselves to do. Oh, I gotta do it again. I gotta do it again. No, no, no. Persistence. You do it with a pep in your step. You say, ooh, I'm gonna do it again. Do it again, do it again, do it again. Ow. That's you gotta do it again and do it again. And you do it with pleasure. Why? Because then it's not a chore. And you know how we feel about chores. Oh man, I gotta do the laundry. You all know at the moment I say chores, we all know what that feels like. Oh man, my whole day is gone. If I say wash day and you gotta wash your hair, you're like, oh. And you put it off for another week because nobody wants to do chores. But if you turn that music on and you have a good time, well, the chores You take the edge off the chores. Well, then you take the edge off the rehearsal by knowing the outcome of the rehearsal. People are going to be screaming your name and hollering and cheering and applauding you. And who doesn't love that? It feels good, doesn't it? Of course it does. Then you look like popcorn. With your chest will enter the room before you do. See, that's the principle of as above, so below. Popcorn is very sure of himself. He is very sure. From the moment he hatched, he was sure of himself. Don't ask me how. I don't know. But he was just sure of himself. So you could be like the rooster. Sure of yourself. They call it what? Cocksure. He's sure of himself. That's why when you see somebody walk in a particular way, they say, oh, he's strutting. You're like a peacock. What do you think is he multicolored like the peacock? No. He's got the strut. He's got the attitude of a peacock. Flaunting, flamboyant. He shows his true colors. He's charismatic. He draws you in. That's what we're working with here. We're always working with a mental attitude. So, every time you want to change something about yourself, adopt a new mental, rehearse it. So that you can do what? You can flip attitudes at will. You would not, because you know who brings what. So it's not going to surprise you. But at first it might. So, you see, you don't sabotage yourself. Yeah, but my coworkers, nope, they're not sabotaging you. They're just showing you their own insecurities. Well, observe. They see you as competition. They are what? Threatened by you? That's their insecurity. So why then would you pick up that attitude of they're out to get me? What happens when you pick up the attitude of they're out to get me? Okay, then. You understand. So, I trust because I've prattled on enough today, according to YouTube, for 43 minutes. Let's welcome everyone, shall we? Melly Mel, hey girl, is in the house. Oh, it's the better man. I see you. Hey, Kimberly. Mrs. Stafford Jr. Or Mr. Oh, shoot. Mr. Stafford Jr. Sorry, I didn't mean to misspeak. These glasses, I don't have them on. Hello, Mr. Stafford Jr. I see you. I see you, son. Welcome to the space. Yoda Green. Oh, Miss Tiffany and Javion. Oh, I see you too. You say hello to Javion for me. Daisy, my sweet. Miss McQueen. I see you. Ray Ray is in the house. Maggie, Maggie, Maggie. Hey, girl. I see you. Moon and Dolphin Duck. Oh, Oracle Treehouse. Well, howdy, stranger. I see you. Wait a minute. Big Mike was just here. Is the app apping? Listen, I missed y'all yesterday on Fanbase because I couldn't get on Fanbase. I offloaded and reloaded the app yesterday. Thus, we're here today. I see you, Commander. I see you. I see you. I see you. Listen, thank you all for being here on this glorious day. It is glorious, isn't it? It sure is. Thank you. I trust that today, if that's what you think, that you're sabotaging yourself, I trust that you have comprehended now why that's not what you're doing. And then every time you walk by a field and you see that field and the pathway down it, you'll know. You will know, and you will employ the principle of correspondence: as above, so below. Because you will know the only reason why that pathway exists across that field is because persistently people walked across it. And you will remind yourself that this change will require my persistence. And you will persist in your new attitude, thereby changing your life. All because you saw that pathway. Oh, but of course, as within, so without. There's a pathway within you. And that's the pathway you're always going to take, unless you make a new one. And we all know how to make a new one. Get the attitude and rehearse it. Why? Because that which you rehearse, you perform. I'm telling you, you got this in the bag. You really do. You don't need to be out here in these streets fretting. Oh, my life. You don't need to do that. Because you know how to change it now. You know how to change it now. Right? Anywho, Mrs. B. Hello, Dawn. Hey, put it on. I see you. You're a little scrappy. Anyway, I love you all. And if you missed it out, you know we do the replay around here. It's the replay gang. Hello. Listen, I need to shout out my girl Yolanda. Yolanda. Gotta shout my girl out. Because she's awesome. She is. And you know, fan base, you know who we haven't seen in a little bit? Flo Smiles. So make sure and slide into her DMs, okay? Make sure and slide into her DMs and say, hey, girl, what you doing? Haven't seen you in forever. Okay, remember to do that. Anyhow, countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Much love to each and every one of you. Truly, go forth today and know that you can change your life. You can go from under the bridge to the mountaintop. Of course you can. Can't nobody break my stride. Nobody gonna slow me down. Oh no, I got to keep on moving. Why do you have to keep on moving? Because nothing stands still. Everything moves. The principle of vibration, yeah? And we could pull a Marky Mark. That's that good vibration. Of course we can. Anywho, don't let me hold you up. You know you can always slide into my DMs if you got questions. If you need further breakdown of things, just let me know. And I'll be here. I'll be there. You know what? I'm done. Jeez. Oh, Angela. Not enough holy water for you, is there? You know what? I digress. Well, you're welcome, Mr. Stafford Jr. I like saying your name, Mr. Stafford Jr. Hello. Anyhow, go forth and know that you can. And you will, because you did it, you're doing it, and you will continue to do it, my dear darling. Because there's nothing that you cannot accomplish. I wonder why that is. Because all things are possible. Why? Because everything has an attitude. Get the attitude, get the thing. All things are possible. Much love to each and every one of you.